Welcome to You and Your Money. Today's episode features Holly Wanagar, Associate Vice President and Wealth Advisor at WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, a great topic, teaching children to save. And I really think there's three main reasons here. Is we struggle to have a clear understanding between our needs, wants, and wishes. And then we also don't have an organized and clear framework about our spending and our savings decisions. And then, of course, being disciplined and consistent in how we spend and save.
So let's talk about, because when you talk about savings, the difference between needs, wants, and wishes. Break that down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So needs are our essentials, like food, housing, utilities, healthcare, the basics that we can't live without. And then our wants are those things that are nice to have, that improve our quality of life, like dining out, entertainment, designer clothes. And then our wishes are those longer term desires, things like dream vacations or luxury items and major lifestyle upgrades.
I hear about the 50, 30, 20 rule. What is that? How does that relate to this?
Yeah, my favorite topic when doing financial literacy with our young clients. It's simple but very powerful. So when we think about our after-tax income, we can break it down into three buckets. 50% going towards our needs. Remember our essential needs like living and food. And then 30% going towards our wants. Dining out, entertainment, and then 20% going towards savings, both long-term and fairly short-term, depending on our goals. And this creates a balanced approach because we need to live now as well as later. I like to think of it like a balanced diet. If it's too strict and I'm told I can't have cookies, I'm not going to stick to it.
Yeah. And I think we probably all know the person who lived so frugally for their whole life because they were saving for retirement and they did nothing. They didn't go on vacations. They didn't have any fun because they were saving for the future. The future comes and they get cancer and they die. But they got a whole pile of money that they left to their kids. That does happen, sadly. So yes, there should be a balance. You got to live, you got to plan for retirement, but live a little bit for today. And balance, must have balance.
Balance. Life is all about balance.
Exactly. All right. So Teach Children to Save Day coming up on April 27th. How can parents incorporate these concepts when you try to teach the kids about money? Tell me about it.
Yeah, so break it down for sort of two segments, the younger kids and then the teens or the older children. So for the younger kids, I'm sure we all had a piggy bank at some point in our life. That's still applicable. As well as you can create like three different jars. Maybe there's bucket strategy we've talked about too. You can do one jar for spending, one jar for saving. And then I like to also incorporate another for sharing and giving back. That's also important.
That's good.
And it helps sort of teach kids how to allocate their money and not to just spend it all immediately. And then for older children, involving them in family budget discussions can be really valuable. Talk to them about spending and the trade-offs and how to manage a small budget, maybe through their allowance.
Family discussions, good topic. There too. Let's take a side trip on that. Sometimes family discussions about money, sometimes it gets awkward. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it can be uncomfortable to talk to kids sometimes about that, but involving them in sort of those decisions too can be helpful, and maybe asking more questions versus just telling.
Yeah. So instead of just lecturing, have a conversation, examples.
Apply it to real life.
All right. So what's an easy way for families to start building an emergency fund? Because that's important too, right? For financial security.
Absolutely. So some people struggle with this, but having an emergency fund and what that is really is just as it's described, an emergency fund set aside for things that are unexpected that come up in life, because we can have a clear plan and then life comes along and gives us a curveball. Those things would be like medical bills or car repairs. And by having that emergency fund, it allows us to maintain our long-term strategy and achieve our goals. So what that looks like is about 3 to 6 months of our basic living expenses on hand at all times. So if we don't have something like that, a good way to set that up is to first, like the buckets we talked about with the kids, create a checking account and a separate savings account. So the checking account was like your discretionary spending. Income comes in, expenses go out, and then your savings is set aside for those emergencies. And you can set up automatic transfers. I find that very helpful. Like when your paycheck comes in, it automatically sends a certain amount of money over to your savings account, again, creating that balance so that you can stay on track. And then, of course, maintaining a disciplined budget. Discipline and consistency are key.
Talk about the power of compound interest.
One of my favorite. And as Einstein said, the eighth wonder of the world, those who understand it earn it, and those who don't pay it. So just like it sounds, compound interest is where interest earned on our initial investment or savings continues to grow. And then we earn more on that growth. And to create an analogy like children might relate to, it's like a snowball. So as it continues to grow and rolls down this hill, it will continue to get bigger by, essentially not having to do a lot on our part besides staying in that strategy. And there are some things you can show people, like visual aids. There are some calculators online, and a lot of times there's a Roth IRA example that is shown online where you can put in a little bit now and how that grows over time. And we also have some of those resources on our website. There are some calculators that show that in our resource section at whcwealth.com, which can be very interesting and powerful.
For more information regarding wealth management and customized financial planning with WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors, please visit whcwealth.com. WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors offer securities and advisory services through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Fixed insurance products and services offered through CES Insurance Agency. They practice at 697 Pomfret Street, Pomfret Center, Connecticut 06259, and 392A Marrow Road, Tolland, Connecticut 06084. They can be reached at 860-928-2341. WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors do not provide legal or tax advice. The tenured financial services team strives to support clients in achieving their financial life goals while providing absolute confidence and unwavering partnership for life.